Tension is escalating between Israel and the Palestinians. Israeli forces shot and killed a Palestinian man they suspected of shooting a U.S.-born Israeli activist who spearheads a movement to allow Jews to worship near a sacred mosque. The attempted arrest ignited a violent clash between Israeli forces and residents today. This led Israel to close access to the Temple Mount, which is sacred to both Jews and Muslims. Closure of the site triggered a strong response from Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. He declared it a, quote, declaration of war. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu urged calm, saying Abbas was stoking unrest. An Israeli official later announced that the holy site would reopen on Friday. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is in a very public dispute with American allies. An anonymous U.S. official made disparaging remarks about Netanyahu, which appeared recently in The Atlantic magazine. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry issued this apology.
We condemn anybody who uses language such as was used in this article that does not reflect the president, it does not reflect me. It is disgraceful, unacceptable, damaging, and I think neither President Obama nor I've never heard that word around me in the White House or anywhere. I don't know who these anonymous people are who keep getting quoted in things, but they make life much more difficult.
Professor William Keylor teaches international relations at Boston University, where he joins us this evening. Bill, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here with us.
Nice to be here.
I want to start with this question. Is there any chance in your mind that this quote from this anonymous senior official at the White House calling Benjamin Netanyahu chicken, and you fill in the blank, that it's calculated in some way in an attempt to perhaps put Netanyahu back on his feet as we move toward the deadline for nuclear negotiations with Iran?
Well, I think the chicken feces remark reflects the growing frustration of the administration toward the Netanyahu government. There's really been a series of issues that have separated two longtime allies. And I don't think the remark itself is particularly important. And the Secretary of State apologized for it. But it's a reflection, I think, of the growing frustration in Washington with the policies that Mr. Netanyahu is conducting, particularly with regard to the construction of settlements in East Jerusalem.
And much has been said and discussed about the frosty relationship, particularly between Barack Obama and Benjamin Netanyahu. How badly would you characterize the relationship between the two governments?
Well, it's at a low point now, I think. It has been at a low point in history. Back in 1956, when Israel joined Britain and France in attempting to overthrow the government of Egypt, there was a lot of angry rhetoric coming out of the Eisenhower White House. George H.W. Bush expressed grave frustration with the government of Yitzhak Shamir. So this is just the latest in a long string of tensions between the two. But on the other hand, of course, Israel is America's most important ally in that part of the world.
That being said, in this very same article that quoted this unnamed official, there was a statement made that said relations between the Obama and Netanyahu government have moved toward a, quote, full-blown crisis. Is that an overstatement?
It's a mini crisis. It's not a crisis such as exists, for example, in ISIS and in Syria and Iraq, but it's a diplomatic crisis. And hopefully the two sides can smooth it over. Secretary of State John Kerry has spent months and months and months trying to reach some kind of settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and he finally threw up his hands in despair at that. And I think that he and the other officials in the administration blame Netanyahu for that. Now, it's possible that this can be overcome, but it is, I think it's a real reflection of this sense of outrage that Netanyahu is not doing more to try to bring about a settlement of the crisis.
And on a slightly different but related note, Sweden just today made the statement they recognize the Palestinian state. British lawmakers have done that recently. Does this move things forward in any way or only complicate the matter?
Well, here is an issue in which the United States has strongly supported Israel, that it is totally opposed to governments recognizing the Palestinian state and very much opposed to any effort to bring about recognition that is not the result of a negotiated settlement. So in this case, I think the United States is foursquare behind Israel, and the British Parliament and Sweden are sort of outliers in that regard.
Yeah, Professor Bill Keylor, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're watching Rise America.